Okay, we are recording.
So good morning, everybody, and thank you for making it to class this morning. Today's class is very special. I've never taught this class before, and I've been working it up this morning, trying to tweak it and get it where I think I would like it to be. So it's a very slow class. It's an opening for your sacroiliac joints, and we'll go into that a little bit more as the class progresses. So remember, as always, we focus on breath, we focus on sensation when we're in a pose, and then we focus on the sensation when we come out of the pose. And I plan to give you plenty of time to think about that, about what you're feeling as we go through some of these poses today. At any time, if it's beyond your reach, if it's pinching, pulling, or burning anything, then you need to back off and you need to stop doing it and just, take a break in any pose that is comfortable for you. And sometimes a simple rebound pose is just sitting like we are right now, or going into a child's pose, which is pulling your hips towards your heels. If you are unable to do that on the floor, the way you would do that on your back is to lie on your back and bring your knees into your chest and really let your low back release. So today we are on the mat, either on our back or on our belly for most of this class. So please be patient with me, as I've not ever taught it before. So you'll be spending some time thinking about these sensations. So to begin class, let's bring our hands, palms together at Anjali Mudra, heart center. We will inhale together for a chant of Om. Inhaling to chant. Inhale. Om. Placing your hands on your knees, palms up. Take a moment here just to find your own breath, to feel the sensations in your body, the base of the spine reaching for the earth, the crown of your head reaching for the sky, shoulders back and down away from your ears, the tips of your shoulder blades lifting your heart, knitting your belly button to your spine. Find some stillness and find moments to engage in the idea and the focus of our theme today, which is the sacred. So this week being Holy Week, and one of my favorite weeks of the year, because it is so profound to our faith, I thought it would be a good idea to examine the sacrum, which is known as the holy bone. So opening your eyes gently, bring your hands behind you if you were seated, and find your way to lying down on your back. The best way to do this is to turn your hips on your side and gently work your way down your mat and roll over. Now, you may want to place a blanket underneath your hips, which is what I've done. I have to turn mine around. I seem to have a sensitive back this morning. Stretch your legs out. Stretch your arms overhead for a nice deep stretch, flexing the feet. Circle your wrist one way and your ankles one way and then the other. Take a nice deep breath, bring your hands down by your side, palms facing up, and close your eyes. So while here, while you are laying down, I'm going to read some information to bring us into this practice. So before we begin our isometric movements, I wanted to give you a little bit of background. So this is the sacrum practice. The sacrum, the holy bone. It is a composite, symmetrical, triangular bone which articulates laterally with the ilia, forming the back wall of the pelvis and resulting from the fusion of two or more vertebrae in the lumbar, and then below that is the coccyx or tailbone. So if you close your eyes, if you have them open, and you imagine your spinal column, so we want to really straighten and lengthen our spinal column to keep us in alignment. At the top, so the base of the skull, we start with the cervical spine, which is 7 vertebrae. And then we have 12 vertebrae, which are the thoracic spine. And then we have 5 vertebrae, which are the lumbar spine, often where we have a lot of pain if we have back pain. And then below that is the sacrum, which are 5 vertebrae, typically 5, which are then fused and in the shape of a V. And below that is the coccyx or the former tailbone. So we always want to keep our spine in alignment. And often when we are thinking about the sacrum is a stabilizing, the sacrum joint, the sacroiliac joint is a stabilizing joint. It does have movement, it moves laterally, but not like the knee joint, okay, or the elbow, right? Those are hinge joints. This just moves slightly, but it is a stabilizing joint. And so it's very, very important for our stability, our strength, and for our alignment. So the word comes from the Latin word sacrum, and it means sacred. The Latin expression for this word, the sacrum, in the anatomical sense is os sacrum, and the Greek word is hieron osteon. They both mean the sacred bone. The female sacrum is somewhat wider and less curved than the male, and obviously that has anatomically evolved in a way for childbirth. So there are several schools of thought as to the name of this bone and this joint. So the Greek hieron means both sacred and temple, and it was seen as a temple for procreation. And that makes sense. Also, because of its density, this bone is one of the last bones to deteriorate when we pass away and we're in the ground. So that also resembles or reflects the afterlife. And it is the bone that in ancient traditions was the first bone to be reassembled. If that makes any sense, it's kind of interesting. So as you're breathing in and out through the nose with your eyes closed, if you can now bend your knees and bring your knees maybe about a foot behind you. So your knees are bent, you're lying flat on the mat. Maybe you have a blanket underneath you. You're going to bring your feet out to the edges of the mat. So just walk them out to the edges and then slowly allow your knees to come together. Bring your hands to rest on your belly. So once again, with eyes closed, imagine the sacrum. And imagine that your pelvis, if you look at your pelvis from above or below, the ilia are the 2 bones on either side, so your hip bones, and they're shaped like earlobes. So these 2 bones that are top of your hips are obviously the top of the ear bone, and as it moves towards the back of the spine, it obviously elongates and moves in. Where it moves in the back is where it then joins with your sacrum in that V shape. And that joint is called the sacroiliac joint. And that's the joint that we will be working on today. Again, remember, it likes to move laterally, so just think back and forth as opposed to rocking or up and down, even though we will be doing some of those motions in this practice. So as we're going through the practice today, and we are in Holy Week, I want us to contemplate what is sacred and what is holy to us, and how do we live that out in our life, in our day-to-day. So you'll notice if you're watching me in a moment that I will be using my notes. So we're on our back, Our feet are spread out to the edges of the mat. Our knees are together. And this is a very relaxing, enjoyable, and restful pose. So most of what we're doing today will feel rather restful because of the pace. However, it is a lot of joint work, and afterwards you may be sore. So if you have a block, keep it close by. I find that paper towels work really well if you don't have a block, and also if you don't have a strap, a belt works, but your hands can also work for this practice today. So we're going to begin walking our feet back in so we're hip distance apart. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your right knee into your chest and your left knee into your chest. Place your hands on top of your knees. Exhale, relax for just a moment. And when you begin breathing, breathe at your own pace. And I want you to make circles towards the left. So we're going to move clockwise, very small isometric motion here. You don't want a lot of large rotation. And then reverse the other way. Bringing your knees into the chest and the side and pushing away from you. And back in. Coming back to center. We're going to inhale and just pedal. So flexing the feet. We're going to pedal back and forth, and you can use your hands for this motion. Continue breathing in and out through the nose. Come back to center. Relax the feet. Once again, small circles clockwise. Maybe 2 circles. If you're making large ones, it might be more or less. Move as slow as you would like. Inhale, center. Exhale, bring the right foot to the mat, the left foot to the mat. Walk your feet out to the edges and bring your knees together one more time. And just feel the sensation of the work you've done. You might find that you need to lift and then resettle your hips. What does that sensation feel like to you? So inhale. As you exhale, walk your feet in towards one another. Your left knee will remain bent. Lift your right leg, place your hands behind your thigh, interlock your fingers, flex your foot, and reach your foot up towards the sky and down again. Very small movements. And at first you might think this is about the ankle or maybe about the knee or maybe even about your shoulders because you're holding on to your leg. But if you give yourself into the sensation, you'll really feel this also in your hips. And if you're very sensitive to your body, you will feel this in your sacroiliac joint. On your next inhale, bring the foot as high as you can or as you would like. This is not about leg extension, so you don't need to press all the way up. Keep your leg nice and bent. As we exhale, we're going to go over to our left side. So gently bring your leg over towards the left side. You don't have to make this a complete twist. We're here for just a few breaths. Inhale. As you exhale, come back to center. Bend that knee, bringing that foot to the floor. Inhale. As you exhale, bring up the left knee. So bring it into your chest. Flex your foot. Push your foot up as far as you would like to extend towards the ceiling. Your knee does not have to be straight. Again, we're not looking for extension. We're looking for activity in that sacroiliac joint. So press up the leg and then bend the knee. And we'll do this several times. Breathe at your own pace. Really feeling deep sensation. Also, are you holding on somewhere else where you have tension in your body? If so, release that tension while you are doing this motion with your left leg. I know for me, I often keep my other hip very, very tight. While one is working, the other's tight, and I need to really let it go in this pose. Inhale and exhale, extend that foot, keeping the knee bent. Inhale, exhale, begin reaching that left leg over towards the right side. And here you don't really want to come way off your mat so that you're on your right hip. You really want both hips at this point to still be on the mat. Breathing in and out through the nose. And contemplating the sacred in your life. Preparing to return. Inhale, exhale, come back to center. Slowly lower that left knee, left leg, foot down to the mat. Take a breath or two here, really relaxing from the waist down. If you have your block, grab your block. If you have paper towels or something hard to put between your legs, grab that. So I use a block. If you have nothing, that's okay. What you'll do is draw your thighs towards each other. So we're going to go up into a bridge pose. So you place your block in between your thighs. Shoulders are on the mat. Palms are facing up. So hands by your side, palms up. Inhale, push into your feet and activate your thighs and pull your thighs in towards one another. Activate your glutes. Your low back is not supposed to be working here. It's all leg work. Exhale, come back down slowly. We'll do it several more times. If you can, stay on your heels. If you can't, keep your feet flat. Inhale. Exhale, rise, pushing really into those thighs. Squeezing the thighs together and those glutes. Exhale, come back down slowly. Vertebrae for vertebrae. And relax. Inhale. Exhale, push it back up. Really squeeze tight. Exhale, come back down. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Push up with your legs. And exhale, come back down. Remove the block. Oops, I'll put it over here. Turn to center. Coming to center, bring your right leg in, your left leg in. Again, hands are on your knees. You can cradle, so moving your knees towards your chest. And then begin your slow hip rotation. Again, these are very small movements. As you exhale, really focusing on letting go of that space. So we are creating space in that sacroiliac joint, lubricating it, if you will, allowing it to release any tension and any stress. Reverse your motion. Left foot comes down on the mat. If you have a strap or a belt, you can use it. So we're going to put our belt or our strap underneath the foot and stretch the foot. So you may extend completely. Sorry, move that out of the way. You may extend completely, or you may be here. Either way, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are is fine. If you feel comfortable stretching out your left leg, go ahead and stretch it out. So we're going to, from here, flex our foot and point the foot. Flex and point. If you don't have a strap, you just hold on to the back of the thigh, and the action is the same. This just gives you a little bit more leverage so you can bring your leg in closer if you'd like to. But again, we're working on a side joint, so we don't really need to focus on that. Keep flexing and pointing. So we're here, keeping our foot flexed. If you did use a belt or a strap, we're going to hold it. Inhale as you exhale, maybe move it over just a few centimeters with your straight leg or your bent leg, and you're going to feel your IT band. So the tibia moving all the way to the ilia. So that muscle is the longest muscle in the body, and it does give you a nice stretch there. But it's also helping to open up laterally that SI joint. This can be very intense for a lot of people. So just go to whatever your edge is. If it's with a bent leg and it's here, that's fine. If you're all the way over, that's fine too. But it's not about straightening out the leg and moving the hip that way. It's really a very small motion. So we'll feel a lot of stress here, but we'll also cause a lot of stress if we overextend. So just stay in a very safe space here. We're here for just a few more minutes. Not minutes, sorry, breaths. Inhaling to come out. So inhale. Exhale, bend your right knee. Release your strap if you had it. Bring that right knee into your chest. Bring your left knee into your chest. Interlace your fingers and rock back and forth. Really massaging our low back here. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring your right foot to the floor. Your left foot, you're gonna, if you have a strap and you want to use it, otherwise you're gonna use your hands behind your thigh. Extend as much as you would like to your left leg towards the ceiling. Flex the foot, point the foot. Flex the foot, point the foot. Flex the foot, point the foot. Flex, point. One more. Flex, point. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your right leg towards your left leg towards your right side of your body. Flex your foot. So bringing that heel up to the ceiling. Your right leg can be bent, or if you'd like, it can be straight. It's whatever sensation is comfortable or best for you. If you straighten out your right leg, please flex your right foot. I may have forgotten to mention that for the other side, but you need to keep your feet flexed to protect your knees. And we're holding here for just a few more breaths. Remembering to let go as you exhale, releasing all tension in the body. Preparing to release. Inhale. Exhale. Bend that left knee. Take your strap or belt off. Bend your left knee. Bring your right knee into your chest. Interlock your fingers. Rock back and forth. If it feels better to you to put your hands on your knees and do that clock, round the clock motion. That feels good as well. And that's really helping us to massage that low back as we open up that joint. So preparing for a butterfly bridge, inhale. Exhale, drop the right foot to the mat, drop the left foot to the mat, bring your feet together, so legs and feet together. Inhale, exhale, let your legs fall apart. They don't have to fall all the way down, let them fall apart. Inhale, exhale, push into your feet and come into a butterfly bridge. So legs are wide, really squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thighs towards one another. And release, come back down. We'll do 2 more of these. Inhale. Exhale, push into your feet and come up into your bridge pose. Your arms are by your side. Both shoulders are on the mat. Squeeze and release. Come back down slowly from the top of the spine to the base of the spine. And release. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Push into your feet. Engage your core. Push all the way up as far as you would like. Squeeze the thighs towards one another. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Keep breathing. Inhale. Exhale, slowly come back down. And release. Walk your feet out, hip distance apart. Inhale, bring your right knee into your chest. Place your right ankle above your left knee. We're going into thread the needle. Inhale. As you exhale, lift up through and bring that left thigh towards you. Clasp the fingers and lower yourself back down to your mat. Keeping the feet flexed protects your knee joint in this position. So again, with eyes open or closed, contemplating what is holy and what is sacred. And creating space in your life and in your body for what is holy and sacred to you. Preparing to come out, inhale. Exhale, lower your left foot down to the mat. Take your right foot and point it up to the ceiling. Grab your big toe or your foot and pull down just a little bit. Bring your elbow into your thigh or your knee or your calf. And create just a little bit more space here. If it feels good to you to stretch out your left leg, you can. It's a little too much for me today and not the purpose of this practice. But if it feels good to you, this is your practice. One more nice deep breath here. Exhaling, letting everything go and just sink. Preparing to come out of this pose, inhale. Exhale, release your hand. Bend that right knee. Bring it back down to the mat, foot to the floor. Inhale, bring that left knee in towards the chest. Inhale, place that left ankle over top of the right knee. Again, if figure 4 is ever too much for you, you can always just push that knee away and keep your foot on the floor, so you're grounding foot. But preparing to go into figure 4, inhale. Exhale, lift up, bring your right side towards you and clasp your fingers underneath. Flex the feet, slowly lower down to the mat. And we're here for just a few breaths. Really allowing that sacrum and that joint, the SI joint, some movement to gain stability and flexibility. Breathing in and out through the nose. Letting go with every exhale. Preparing to come out of the pose, inhale. As you exhale, lower your right knee down to the mat, and your left leg, your foot is going to be parallel to the ceiling. Reach up and grab your foot with your left hand. You can grab your big toe, place your elbow somewhere inside, so against the shin or the knee bone, and pull down just a little bit. This is not, you're not pulling hard, you're just giving the slightest bit of gravity to your arm to weight down your leg. Few breaths here. Preparing to come out of the pose. Inhale. Exhale, release the pose. Bend that left knee into the chest. Bring the right knee up to the chest. Again, do some cradle, rocking back and forth. Placing the hands on the knees, doing some small circles with your hips. As you move your hips away from you, really releasing on the exhale, letting everything go. See if you're holding on to that space. Really open it up. Coming back to center, bring your right foot down to the mat, your left foot down to the mat. We're going to go over onto our right side. So lift your hips up, come over on your right side. Work your way up to the mat. We're coming into tabletop. I'm going to stay with my knees on the mat. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, drop the tailbone, lift the belly, drop the head. Exhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the head. Exhale, drop the tailbone, lift the belly, drop the head. Exhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the head, and come back to center. I need to move my mat there. So at tabletop, bring your knees together. This will be a challenging pose, and if this is too challenging for your knees, then just go into child's pose. So from here, windshield wash both legs over to the left side of your mat. So I'm going to face you so that you know what this looks like. So we're here, and I put both of my legs over towards the left side of the mat. I'm going to take my left leg and cross it behind my right leg. So I'm here, and if this is enough of a stretch for you, stay here. But otherwise, either walk your hands forward and pull your hips towards your heels. And I'm going to change position now so you can see. And slowly come down to your mat. So your knees should be stacked, and you can keep a straight back for a certain, like you might just want to be right here and say, it's good, I'm fine. Or you might want to go deeper because it isn't so challenging. Depends on where you are. We're here for a few breaths. Really releasing your exhale. Preparing to come out, inhale. Exhale, push into your palms. Come back to tabletop. So your left leg is going to uncross and come to meet your right leg. You're in that windshield wash and you're bringing both knees back to center. Bring your hips to your heels and sit up for just a few breaths. Hands come to rest in your lap. We're going to do the other side. So coming back to tabletop, palms are under the shoulders, knees are together. Inhale, exhale, both legs go over to the right side. This time you bring your right leg behind you, cross it behind you so that your knees are stacked as much as possible. Slowly begin to push so your hips are moving toward your heels. If it's more comfortable for you to move this way, you can do that. So experiment. We're only here for a few breaths. This is a deep stretch, but sometimes it's more uncomfortable for the knees for people who have knee issues, in which case you can do this on your back. So while everyone else is still in that position, it would look like this, only you're trying to bring both knees in towards you this way. So instead of figure 4, which is this, you would be doing crossing your legs and bringing them up and then coming back. It still can be very intense, but not quite as intense as when you're in this position. So preparing to come out of the pose, inhale, exhale, push into your palms. Right leg is unwinding behind you. Bring it down to rest beside your left leg. You're still in that windshield wipe. Both legs come back to center. Widen your knees so that they are hip distance apart. One more round of cat-cow. So inhale, drop the tailbone, lift the belly, drop the head. And exhale. Let's do one more. Inhaling, exhale, and release. From here, we're going to lower down to the mat. So we're going into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose is you come down on your elbows. And elbows are underneath, are underneath your shoulder. If that's too much of a pinch in your lower back, then you move your elbows out. So we're here. I've got to catch up with myself. So we're here in Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, your legs are stretched out. Your toes are pointed. You can really engage here, or if you want to make it a little softer, you can disengage the bottom part of your body, but keep your core engaged. So inhale, look over your shoulder. Exhale, inhale back to center. Exhale, look over your other shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, look over your left shoulder. Inhale back to center. Look over your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. And here, drop. So your hands are going to be placed in front of you. You're going to drop your head down on top of your arms. And you're going to do small leg lifts. So I'm lifting my head so I can talk to you and you can hear me. But your head remains on your hands. And first, lift your left leg and resume back down to the mat. Right leg back down. Left leg lift, return. Right leg lift, return. 2 more. Left leg lift, return. Right leg lifts, return. 1 more. Left leg, center. Right leg, center. This time, bend your left knee. Come up back into Sphinx. And reach that left leg back towards the other side. So this will give you an extended stretch on your right side. We're here for just 2 breaths. Inhale, Exhale, return to center, slowly roll on your belly, breathe at your own pace. Coming back to Sphinx, preparing the other side. Inhale, bend that right knee. Exhale, slowly allow that right leg to come back towards the other side. It doesn't have to touch the floor. It can just stay right here. Press into your right arm. Inhale. Exhale, slowly unwind. Come back to center. Bend both knees. Bring your head down to your mat and just windshield wash both legs. So we're really going to do that just to release that low back. Bringing both feet down to the mat. Palms underneath the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, push up and back into hero's pose. So you're going to bring the hips to the heels, sitting nice and tall, finding a tall spine. This is a rebound pose from all the back work we did. Preparing to go into child's pose, Balasana. Come forward on your hands, bring your big toes together, widen your legs out to as far as you would like, maybe to the edge of the mat. And when you're ready, slowly allow yourself to come forward. Head comes down to the mat. You can stretch your arms out as far as you would like. You can put your arms behind you if that's better. You can also put your face to the side. So whatever is comfortable for you. Some people like a cushion, to lay on a cushion. It changes the stretch of the pose. So some people like to do this, but it feels wonderful. And if that's what you need today, then that's what you should do for your body. This, even though we moved very slowly today, has been very, very opening for that SI joint. So appreciating and loving the sacred in us. And what does the sacred and the holy look like in each of us? And how do we live that out in our daily life? So breathing in and out through the nose, really releasing all tension and all stress, all negative thoughts. Leave it all here on the mat today so that you can move forward with new energy, with grace, with love, with forgiveness. And preparing for Shavasana, press into your hands. Bring your knees together, your legs together. Come up and lay on one hip and slowly work your way down to your mat, coming into Shavasana. So lying down flat on your mat, stretching your legs out and your arms overhead, maybe doing one side and then the other. And finding that space where you can really relax and let go. Where you can use this time to reflect on your practice, on your feelings. And with your eyes closed, imagine that you can be in a drone, or you can be a butterfly or a bird, and you are looking down at the top of your body, and you see yourself there, and you appreciate the temple that you are. You appreciate that the body is the temple of the Lord, because what is inside and what is housed in the temple is something very, very sacred. So to begin our Shavasana, you will have 2 minutes where you can contemplate the sacred and the holy in your life. So I will begin Shavasana with Om, and I will end Shavasana today and our practice with 1 round of Om. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Make circles with your wrist and your ankles one way and then the other way. Stretch your arms overhead, reaching for opposite ends. And when you're ready, press into your feet. Turn over to your right side or your left side. And take 2 nice breaths here. And on your next exhale, slowly push your hand into your mat and come up to seated. Whatever is comfortable for you. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice of the sacred today. Please take care of yourself. Give yourself time to really progress slowly today. This was a very intense practice, even though it was very slow. Have a wonderful Easter, everybody. Hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.